This is COMSC 142. The most important thing to know is this URL, samsclass.info. That's where all my classes go. I've been there for more than 20 years. That's the heart of all my classes. Start there. That's where you find all your stuff. Other things like Canvas, I use reluctantly because the administration makes me use it. I hate using other people's software. It's very annoying. Anyway, mostly I use the stuff on my website. And so this is where you start. Once you go there, you'll find a lot of classes, and down here is the one you're in, COMSC 142, Computer Architecture and Organization. So you go here. Now I'm going to have this class every week at 2:30 here physically, and you can physically come to class, and I encourage you to do that. That's usually the way to have the best experience, but you could also connect remotely by Twitch. That's true of all my classes. I've switched to that years ago before the pandemic, which is pretty handy. When the pandemic hit and nobody could come physically to class, I didn't have to change anything. I'd already been teaching remotely. In many of my classes, most of the students connect remotely, only a few come physically. That's all right, although I think you get a better experience being physically in the room. That's what I like, but I'm real old and old-fashioned. I'm used to this old-fashioned learning technique. And if you don't have to do either of those things, there'll be videos posted. You can watch them later. You can also just completely ignore the lecture if you want. You're not graded on attendance. All your points come from quizzes and hands-on projects. And all you have to do is get a certain number of points to get a grade. No part of the class is required. You don't have to take the final exam. Most of my students don't take the final exam because they do extra hands-on projects to get enough points before the final exam. So all you have to do is get a certain number of points and you get a grade. That's all there is to it. It's like a video game. And there are a lot more projects available than you would need to reach that total. So you can do extra ones pretty easily. So the quizzes are online in Canvas. It's the typical LMC Canvas server, which is here. You probably all are using it in your other classes, I suppose. And so here we are, COMSC 142. All right, and the only thing in here is quizzes and announcements, and I will have a column called CTF for scores that come in from your hands-on projects. So you just use this to take quizzes, and there's a schedule of those. It's inside Canvas, but it's also down here. Every week there's some quizzes available. We're going to cover some chapters, but the meat of the class is the hands-on projects. Although this class, the chapters are really quite interesting. This class goes in depth in how computers work, and I was very pleased to learn how GPUs work. I never really understood it. And what we're going to do is learn how computers work at the binary level, how assembly language works, and we're going to learn how memory is used and how memory corruption attacks work, like dangling pointers and buffer overflows, and perform those attacks, because that's how you really understand how computers use memory. And it will turn out that almost all memory corruption attacks are the result of this language called C. C is an old language from, I think, 79, and C was written as the first high-level language that was efficient because it's only a small step from assembly language. We're going to make simple C code, and we're going to make assembly code. You're going to write quite a lot of assembly code in this class, and you'll see how to write the raw language that the processor uses, one step from the binary, and see how it runs, and really control what machines are doing at low level. This is actually quite important. Now, you might think you can use high-level languages like Java and Python for everything because computers are so powerful, but the problem is we have the Internet of Things. There are little things, light bulbs, cameras on your garage door, thermostats. Those little gadgets have very little power and very little memory and weak processors. And so it turns out to be quite important to learn these old techniques. Now, when I started doing this in the 1970s, the computers were so weak that you had to write assembly code to get anything done. And so we learned assembly, which was much simpler at that time. There were only 160 assembly language commands in an 8-bit processor I was using at the time, but the principles have not changed. And you might think assembly code programming would be dead, but it's not, because if you want to write something in a resource-constrained environment, like a small gadget, like a smart lock or something, you have to get back to the really efficient coding techniques to get the most value out of the hardware. So anyway, that's what the purpose of this class is. You really learn how the computer works. So there's a textbook, which is a free online book called Dive into Systems. You don't have to buy anything. And there's you can read this thing and you can take quizzes here. I do not enforce the due dates on the quizzes. These are recommended dates. If you take them late, I don't take points off. Although if everybody puts everything off till the last week, that's a bad experience. I don't recommend it. And the hands-on projects are scored in a system I'll show you a bit later. I'll demonstrate the first one. And the first thing you're going to have to do is get a Linux machine running on an Intel processor, real or simulated. That's what this first project is. You have to have that to do what's coming up later, because we all have to have the same processor and run this code and watch how it uses memory and start engaging in attacks that involve exploiting the corrupted memory. So, yeah.
Okay, so in relation to that,
Yeah.
so in the very last step, you have to change your IP address, right?
I don't think so.
From your Linux computer?
No, you usually just let it get an automatic IP address. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but there's no need to. Just your virtualization software will run a virtual router and just deliver an automatic IP address the way a Wi-Fi router does. And that's good enough for what we're doing here. By the way, we're doing only very simple C programming and very simple use of Linux. It doesn't really matter. We're not doing any of the fancy features. We're getting down to the heart of how the machine works, not any of the fancy features. So it doesn't really matter which version of anything you have. Although to get my projects to work exactly as expected, it's probably best to use Debian Linux, which I switched to years ago. I started out teaching pen testing, and I used a penetration testing distribution called Kali. But Kali, penetration testers are kind of nuts. They always want the latest attack to work, and they keep breaking things. So I'd write a project, and they would update 3 months later, and it would be broken. Debian is wonderful. They're very conservative. I've written projects for Debian 8, and they still work in Debian 13. They're careful not to break the old stuff when adding new stuff, and I appreciate that. So I've gotten very attached to plain Debian machines. You know what they're going to do, and they're reliable. And I think the same thing is true if you go to the main root Linux distributions like Fedora and things like that, but not the cosmetic ones like Ubuntu. Ubuntu's pretty messed up. Ubuntu is Debian unstable plus a bunch of crap that doesn't work very well to make it look like Windows. And that's nice for ordinary people that want to pretend they're using Windows, but if you really want to make it stable and reliable, sticking to the main branch is a good move. Anyway, that's how the class is going to work. Let me stop this video.